First up is Chipotle. Obviously been beaten up a little bit, but are they finally moving past this whole cilantro poisoning thing?
Cilantro poisoning. So CDC officially has said that they announced this on Monday, that they believe that E. coli outbreaks at Chipotle appear to be over.
Well, I can breathe a sigh of relief.
So the stock bounced up a little bit. I think it was like up a little over 4% yesterday as a result of that announcement, and pretty fitting because they actually are reporting their earnings after the close today. And they also have another big event coming, which is next Monday. They have that company-wide meeting, which you had mentioned previously on another episode.
Yeah, for our listeners that don't know what he's talking about, they're actually closing all the stores.
Yeah,
and
they're
having
closing
a meeting
all the
about
stores.
like safety and just food prep and just talking about this thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they are closing all the stores for their lunch service. They're reopening at 3 p.m. And then, but during that intermission, call it, they're going to be broadcasting the meeting out of Denver, to hundreds of locations.
The symbolism of this alone is awesome.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
So let's take this like one at a time. And so first of all, the CDC announcement, they basically said that their agency, their investigation, indicated that some Chipotle ingredient or meal was probably the source of the contamination, but they couldn't actually identify the specific ingredient or whatever caused it. The stock bounced up 4%. It's about 400 trading. It was trading closed at about 473 on the positive development. And keep in mind, they've kind of been dealing with these food safety issues since last August. They had salmonella cases in Minnesota in August 2015 with about 60 people affected. Then they had all those E. coli cases, which I think were like the brunt of the PR hit, where that was in Pacific Northwest, spread to other states, again, about 60 people. And then I think it was in December where they had the norovirus cases in California and Boston that affected hundreds of people.
So there's been this cascade of bad news, yeah.
And it's really interesting when you look at some of the 8Ks they filed as updates on these situations, how the news of the norovirus cases, for example, in December really hit their comps like week by week. You could see how it swing. Things look like they're steadying, then they completely just plummet as a result of the headlines.
So the CDC announcement couldn't come at a better time because they're about to report earnings that are probably going to be bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can just point to be like, listen, it's over.
I think everyone will acknowledge the fact that they've had these challenges that they're dealing with them the best they can. And, going forward, they're obviously looking to a brighter future, that's for sure.
So what kind of results can we probably expect with these likely abysmal same-store sales results for the fourth quarter and last year?
Sure. So just a quick recap. So the company initially expected to be hit for their comparable restaurant sales down 8 to 11% for the fourth quarter. That number
That's how they used to grow every quarter.
Exactly. They thought that restaurant level operating margins would be about 22 to 24%, earnings per share between about $2.45 and $2.85. And then the company issued an update about early last month that kind of basically said things are worse than we thought. Fourth quarter comparable restaurant sales are actually down 15%. Operating margins were down to 20 to 21%, earnings per share of just 170 to 190. So on all three of those metrics, they pretty much downgraded significantly.
Yeah.
And just to give you a little bit of context, for the year ago quarter, restaurant level operating margin was 26.6%. Earnings per share was $3.84, and comparable restaurant sales were up 16% year over year. So that's like a 30% swing.
That's
for
crazy
comps,
growth. Yeah.
Okay, so now for the month of December specifically, I think with some of the additional news, how everything cascaded together, they saw their comparable restaurant sales down 30%.
Wow.
Specifically for that month, and so. That's what people are expecting for the fourth quarter, full year, obviously.
Makes for shorter lines, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. And that is obviously going to have a really negative impact for their on their impact on their full year as well. So we talked about next Monday, that meeting, and to be specific, the company mentioned in a press release that the point of the meeting is, one, to thank everybody who's part of the organization who has worked really hard in the past couple months to institute new stricter safety standards, make sure things are operating well, that there's no more of these cases breaking out. And then second is to announce some of their new initiatives, which they hope will guarantee that there won't be another outbreak like this in the future.
Right. Did they mention anything along the lines of the? Is it going to make them less profitable to have all these new safety standards? Is my question. Have you caught anything like that?
Well, the thing is, the meeting's next week. If I'd be curious to hear about details with that in the earnings call today, and also in the meeting. But I'm sure, I know for a fact that they've reported increased costs as a result of these incidents. It was like $18 million, I think.
Yeah.
But specifically where they're going to, how it's going to impact some of the margins, well, we'll be yet to see that.
Cool. Okay. Very cool.
And another thing you mentioned that you brought up is their 2016 forecast. So basically, they've acknowledged that any previous forecast that we provided for this year,
throw them out the window.
Just throw them out the window entirely, because there's no way we can know based on this climate. And from Wall Street at least, analysts are expecting revenue and earnings to decline about 15 to 20% each. And I think for this company long term, they are really going to need to execute well on these food safety plans, because even the slightest hiccup is going to it's going to crush them. It's going to crush them, absolutely. And then otherwise, my personal view, I'm pretty confident that they'll recover this as time passes, assuming they're aren't their like very headline worthy incidents. And the thing is, like, other restaurants have run into issues like this, even worse ones, and they've managed to recover. Let alone, Chipotle being arguably the leader of the whole fast casual movement. I think they're in a pretty strong position.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems like Chipotle's got the heart and soul of what you want in an organization doing this sort of thing. So
yeah, their leadership's embraced everything. They've been very, very forthcoming with information, working as much as they can with the various regulatory agencies that have been involved, like looking into this. And I think that they're in a good place, and people should be looking to the future a bit now.
Cool.